Okay, let's get right into it. So, what is the wisdom to win souls? Actually, how do I discern how to win souls and when I can share the gospel in the most effective way? So, wisdom is the ability to provide a solution to a problem. A person that can tie a kid's shoes that can't tie his own shoes is wise in the eyes of the child. A person that could fix a car when the other person can't fix a car is wise in that specific area. So wisdom is the ability to meet a given problem with a relevant solution. So the question is, why do people come to God? You might be saying a handful of different answers, but ask yourself, why do people come to God? So we're about to give you the wisdom for evangelism. Mark 2:17. God spoke this to me when I was studying evangelism. I was trying to understand, how can I be the most effective when it comes to winning souls? And this is what he showed me. Mark 2:17. When Jesus heard it, he said unto them, they that are whole have no need of the physician, but they that are sick. I came not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. So watch this very carefully. They that are whole have no need of a physician. So who goes to the doctor? Sick people. Unless something unless you're the type of person that just goes to the doctor for any reason, you're not going to find anyone sitting in the emergency room that isn't sick or doesn't have a problem. So he says, they that are whole have no need. The way to discern opportunities to share the gospel is by identifying people's need. And people, I'm going to show you an easy way to do that when you go out evangelizing, but is an even easier way when you're dealing with people that you already know. People love to talk about their problems, and their problem is always an open door to the gospel. My job is stressing me out. I've been working here for 20 years and they still haven't promoted me. That's a problem. If you have the gospel, you have the solution. So it's the ability to tie the gospel to that solution. I definitely understand that. I was the same way. I worked for such and such, and it seemed like I couldn't get ahead. But when I realized that my life was in God's hands, that's when I started to experience promotion that was uncommon. What's your relationship like with Jesus? So just that quickly, in 2 sentences, I transitioned their problem into a gospel conversation where they'll soon get the opportunity to accept or deny Jesus. But why would they want to give their life to Jesus? Because he's the solution to their problem. It's that simple. So the needs of men are doors to the gospel. When you master the ability to discern men's needs, then use the gospel to meet that solution, then you'll be able to easily get men to yield their heart to God. And I've seen this time and time again. So a couple verses to understand, why do people come to Jesus? We already showed that it's problems. People need solutions. But we're going to show it with specific verses. Matthew 8:2-3. And behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou can make me clean. And Jesus put forth his hand, touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. So this leper didn't even worship Jesus for long enough to get out a full sentence. It said he worshiped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt. So his worship was asking him, if you will, you can help me with my sickness. If you will, or if you desire to, you can help me with my problem. That was his worship. Matthew 8:5-8. And when Jesus entered Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion beseeching him and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home, sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And you know the story. Long story short, Jesus healed his servant. But this centurion came a long way because he had a problem. Matthew 8:24. And behold, a great tempest arose in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with waves, but he was asleep. Talking about Jesus. Jesus was asleep. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us. We perish. So you mean to tell me Jesus was in the boat the whole time, and none of you guys cared to be close to him? None of you wanted to lay by his side. None of you wanted to sit by him. None of you wanted to wake him up to talk to him. But when you have a need, you run to him with force, with violence. That's exactly how the average person is. The average person has to have a problem before they're ready to accept the gospel. I'm not saying that someone can't accept Jesus with a problem. I'm just saying discerning the problems and the needs of man is an easy way to discern an open gate or open door to share the gospel. So start listening to people's conversation and realize when they're talking problems, when they're talking issues, when they're talking obstacles in their life, and start to use that. And we're going to teach you something called a gospel transition statement. You're going to learn how to transition that problem into a conversation about Jesus. So there's no one with a problem that's not looking for a solution. If you have a constant headache, the average person is going to pop a pill. If you need a hole in the wall, you go to buy a nail and a hammer. So it's no one, if you need transportation to back and forth from work, you buy a car or you ride the bus. It's no one that has a need that's not looking for a solution. So leverage that basic wisdom, knowing that everyone's looking for a solution, and use it to begin to share the gospel. So one way, when I go out evangelizing, because I did, like I said, the easiest way is to start with people you know. But what happens when you exhaust that list, which you should do pretty quickly if you're being faithful? Now you have to go out, like Jesus said. So one question I always ask, I always actually lead with. Like I said, I don't start by small talk and trying to build a relationship. I go straight into it so I can discern, is God calling this person or drawing this person, or is he not? So a question that I've never got rejected asking is this: if you can ask God for any miracle, what would you ask him for? And the question is, what's the wisdom behind that question? Why is that such a good question? It's because if you can tell me what you would ask Jesus for, what you would ask God for, you're telling me what your need in this moment is. Whether it's family, whether someone's sick, whatever it is, you're going to immediately in one sentence articulate that need, which I can then bridge the gospel as the solution for. And it works wonders, because everybody is looking for a solution to a problem. You can go up to someone and ask, and I've been with someone evangelizing that went up and asked, how can I pray for you? And there's nothing wrong with that, except the average person doesn't want prayer. But when you ask, what miracle? Oh, you're telling me that is a possibility I can get a solution to the problem I have? People, especially if it's non-believers, don't see prayer as a solution to any problem. So that's why it's so essential to identify a problem and then make God meet that solution. Paint God and the gospel as a solution to that problem, which he is. So again, this requires you having trust in your sender. You have to truly believe that the God who sent you is the God that can meet their solution. If someone's sick, you have to believe that God can heal that sickness. If someone's broke or poor, you have to have the belief that God is willing to provide. And again, I'm not saying that you have to know the Bible back and forth, but you have to have a basic confidence that since you're going out, God is going to be with you, confirming whatever you do, because you're representing him and wanting to get people into the kingdom. So the next video, we're going to talk about a specific way to transition, like I said, gospel transition statements. You learn in this one that you need to be looking for a problem, and a great question to ask when you go out to witness to people you don't know. But what about people you do know? What about people you just run into organically? How can you transition a statement? How can you transition into a gospel conversation when you've seen that they're articulating a need? We'll get into that in the next video. You don't want to miss it. Catch you soon.